Hey guys, this is Will with LPT Realty, and I hope you're having a fantastic day today. I know that I am. Today we are back here in Windermere, Florida, and if you've been on the channel for a while, you know that we did a video in Windermere a little bit over a year ago, but not just here in Central Florida, not just in Florida, really around the country, our real estate market has changed, and it's definitely affected here in Windermere. So I wanted to talk about why people love this place, where it's at, but also kind of hash in how the market has changed since last year, what you need to know before you call this really awesome place here in Central Florida home. But before we get started, make sure to click that subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date with everything we have coming to you here in Windermere and the rest of Central Florida. So let's start talking about Windermere. So before we hop into the market and what's changing with prices and inventory, I really wanted to talk about why people love calling this place specifically home. I think when you talk about exclusiveness and uniqueness in terms of all the communities we have here in Central Florida, Windermere really does stand out from the rest. One of the big things people love about the area is the location. You're only about 20 minutes southwest of downtown Orlando, another 15 minutes from Universal, and about another 20 minutes from Disney, which means that you're just tucked away from all the noise where it's not super busy here, but you're just close enough that it's really not a hassle to drive there. So one of the big things that I think draws people that live here and people that have reached out to me to move here is really the character that this city has. Right now we're here in downtown Windermere, and you see they have these brick-lined and tree-lined streets. You have these beautiful grand estates and these private gated neighborhoods, really some of the most exclusive neighborhoods you can get in all of Central Florida, such as Islesworth, Lake Butler Sound. And you really don't get that anywhere else in Central Florida. I think it kind of contrasts to somewhere like Winter Park, where you also have beautiful estates, but you definitely have a much more open feel to Winter Park. Here in Windermere, if you're looking to kind of really live behind the gates, so to say, you definitely are going to get that here just because you have a ton of privacy and really have this small town vibe that you don't really get too much in Central Florida that sometimes may feel like it lacks a certain type of character. So we just talked about some of those beautiful estates here that you really can't get in a bunch of other places in Central Florida. One of the really neat things about Windermere is you do have access to the Lake Butler chain of lakes, and you do have access to waterfront property if you own one. Now those can start to creep up into that $2 million plus price range, but it's really one of the coolest places you can get a beautiful, gorgeous estate and be right there on the water. A lot of people that are boat enthusiasts or jet ski enthusiasts, this is really one of the places they go to because you can get all of that and still be in a small town that has everything you need. We have Publix, we have the Grove shopping centers. If you have to go to the gym, right here. But once again, if you want to go somewhere else, get some more attractions, have some more fun, maybe that nightlife, you're really only 20 minutes or less from it. So it's a really neat thing and kind of ties everything all together about this wonderful community that we have here in Central Florida. Aside from the unique character and charm this town has, the really cool nature-infused lifestyle that the Lake Butler chain of lakes offers, and really those grand, beautiful estates that you can't get much of anywhere else in Central Florida. Another thing people that both live here and people that have reached out to me about moving here rave about is going to be the school system. People really do love the option they get all the way from elementary to high school. So for your public options, your high school zoning is either going to be for Windermere High School or Olympia High School. And on the private side, the closest one in the community is going to be Windermere Prep. But Montverde Academy and Lake Highland Preparatory School are both about 35 minutes on the opposite sides of Windermere. So you do have options that aren't super far that allows that access to education that residents here love. So now that we've talked about why people love calling this community home so much, I really want to dive into the market because that's definitely changed since the last time I did this video. Now that we've rehashed why residents love calling this place home and people continue to move here, I really wanted to dive into the market and how that's changed, because a lot has changed from last year. If you recall, interest rates were sitting at about 3.5% at this point last year, and today, because of the global inflation we've been experiencing, we're sitting right under 6.5% now. So that's quite the jump, and that cost of capital has become much more expensive to borrow, and as most of you know, typically interest rates and home prices have a negative correlation. About a year ago, homes were sitting at roughly $570,000, and today we're sitting right at about $625,000. So if you did buy a year ago, you definitely are seeing a ton of gains still. even from that crazy 2021 market that we were in. But I'll be honest with you, we did peak out in about May, which was around $700,000. And from May to I would say about October, you really saw a lot of these price reductions and price drops that you really got all over the country, even in markets as hot as Central Florida. So we peaked out about $700,000 and we sunk back down to around that $625,000 range. But I will say I have noticed prices starting to kind of stabilize and flatline where they're at right now. Which is a part of two things. With those rates going up, you've seen buyer demand drop significantly, even though inventory really isn't that high. Last year, most homes here sold in under 10 days. Today, that inventory's picked up a little bit to about 3 weeks, but I'll be honest with you, in relative history, that's still not a lot of inventory. I think back in 2017, we were sitting at about 70 days. So that shows you the market's still competitive, but that buyer demand has tapered down so much, it's really opened up room for a lot of that healthy negotiation that we used to have, which I think is good for really people looking to move here and anywhere else. Last year you had to give an arm, a leg, maybe your firstborn to win an offer. And today I'm kind of noticing that you're winning offers in those first few, maybe 1, 2, or 3. And even then, you're getting a lot more negotiation room, whether that's repairs, concessions, you name it. It's definitely changed a little bit more in favor to the buyer. But if you are a seller here in Windermere, you're still up equity if you've bought any time prior to May of the last year. Overall, you're definitely seeing a much bigger gap between that list price and that sales price, which means that negotiation room has opened back up. So if you missed out the past 2 years of getting a home here, it might be a good time now to get a home with a lot more negotiation leverage, and in the future possibly refinance and get that rate back down, as we know eventually that's going to sink back down. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick little video we did of the Windermere area. It's a really cool spot, one of my favorite areas here in all Central Florida, and people, both residents and people moving here, love calling this place home, and I hope one day maybe you will too. So if you want to stay up to date with more content we're bringing to you here in Windermere or other parts of Central Florida, click that subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date with everything, and I'm going to catch you guys next time.